What just happened at a Coldplay concert has the entire internet spiraling, and Blake Lively is right in the center of it. A shocking moment was caught on camera. A man allegedly part of her inner circle was seen in what looked like a cheating scandal unfolding in real time. And right beside him, Blake Lively herself, who appeared visibly furious and stormed off mid-performance, leaving fans stunned. Within hours, social media exploded, but this wasn't just about a cheating scandal. This was about Blake's reaction, caught live, raw, and unfiltered. Suddenly, a new label began trending, Toxic Diva, and with that, the floodgates opened. Former collaborators started whispering, old red carpet clips resurfaced, and fans began asking questions Blake has managed to avoid for years. Is this a one-off emotional moment or the unraveling of a carefully curated Hollywood persona? As the footage went viral, PR teams scrambled, insiders leaked private tensions, and even Justin Baldoni's name began trending again without him saying a single word. With every passing day, more angles emerge, more stories are exposed, and more celebrities are keeping their distance. Even Ryan Reynolds' silence is raising eyebrows. This isn't just gossip, this is a career-level scandal unfolding before our eyes. In this video, we break down the full timeline of the viral Coldplay chaos, the scandal that rocked Blake Lively's image, the reactions from Hollywood insiders, the connections to her feud with Baldoni, and what this could mean for her future in the industry. Buckle up, because this isn't just another celebrity headline. This is the moment the spotlight turned harsh, the illusion shattered, and the world saw the real Blake Lively. The entertainment world has been rocked again, and at the center of the latest drama stands none other than Blake Lively. Once hailed as one of Hollywood's most admired and elegant leading ladies, she's now finding herself caught in a whirlwind of accusations, viral moments, and an unflattering new nickname, Toxic Diva. Add to that a cheating scandal that unfolded on camera at a Coldplay concert, and you have the kind of scandal that forces even the most PR-polished stars into damage control. Let's break it all down. It all began when leaked footage emerged from a Coldplay concert at the Rose Bowl. At first glance, it looked like a typical night of celebrity luxury. Blake Lively spotted near the VIP section, surrounded by security, friends, and what seemed like a curated entourage. But as fans zoomed in on what was happening off stage, one moment triggered mass speculation. A man allegedly in Blake's inner circle was caught on camera in what many interpreted as an intimate exchange with a woman who was not his partner. The moment was subtle, but social media detectives picked up on the details almost instantly. The body language, the touch on the small of her back, the whispering. It didn't take long before fans were convinced that a cheating scandal had just played out in public, right in the middle of the concert. But here's where it takes an even more unexpected turn. As online sleuths dug deeper into the moment, another theory emerged. This wasn't just about a cheating scandal, it was about the fallout within Blake Lively's camp. Because not only was she present when it happened, but her reaction, caught in another clip, set the internet ablaze. She looked visibly annoyed, angry even, and then just seconds later she stormed out of the camera's view. That's when the word diva first began trending, and not in a good way. Insiders began leaking new information suggesting that the moment was far from isolated. According to two anonymous crew members who had previously worked on set with Blake, this kind of emotional reaction was familiar. She doesn't like surprises, she doesn't like losing control, and she definitely doesn't tolerate public embarrassment. Someone further describing her behavior behind closed doors as strategic but intimidating, high pressure, and yes, toxic. Now let's be clear, calling someone toxic in Hollywood is no small accusation. It's often a mix of personality, perception, PR handling, and media framing. But what's fueling this narrative now is the combination of live footage, real-time fan reaction, and multiple insider accounts all colliding at once. One particularly viral tweet read, Blake Lively really just walked off mid-concert, like the show was about her. Classic diva move, who storms out of Coldplay. The backlash grew rapidly. TikTok creators began dissecting the moment from all angles. Was it jealousy, betrayal, pure frustration, or was this just a bad night captured in the worst possible way? But fans weren't the only ones asking questions. The media pounced. Several outlets, ranging from pop culture sites to more mainstream entertainment platforms, started posting side-by-side clips comparing her reaction at Coldplay to past tense red carpet interactions, behind the scenes interviews, and even her recent appearance at an awards show where she allegedly snubbed another A-lister. And then came the resurfaced interview that lit the fire even more. A director who remained unnamed but was linked to a major Netflix project from 2020 spoke candidly in a podcast, saying, some actors walk into a room and light it up, others walk in and shut it down. Blake, she does both, depending on the day. Fans were quick to take that as confirmation of the toxic diva label that had begun trending on TikTok and Twitter. And with the Coldplay concert moment fresh in everyone's minds, the narrative took shape fast. But what about the cheating scandal itself? That's where things get even messier. Because as more footage from that night emerged, including from fans sitting on the opposite end of the stadium, the man in question was finally identified. While some assumed it was a celebrity or someone from Blake's management team, it turns out the man was connected to the entertainment tech startup world, a rising executive who had recently been seen at multiple events with Blake and Ryan Reynolds. So was this man cheating in real time, and if so, was it in front of Blake? And more importantly, why was her reaction so severe? Speculation exploded. Some claimed she was protecting a friend. Others said she felt personally betrayed. But a third theory, a more conspiratorial one, suggested she was caught off guard and feared the PR blowback would reflect poorly on her, especially during an already tense period involving ongoing legal drama with Justin Baldoni and other content creators. It's no secret that Blake has been under a microscope lately. Between the defamation saga, the PR battles, and now a real-time concert scandal, the pressure has clearly been mounting. Add to that whispers that some in Hollywood are quietly distancing themselves, and you get a clear picture of a woman on edge and a career facing unpredictable turbulence. Still, her defenders have spoken up. One fan posted on X, formerly Twitter, "You don't know what she's going through. Maybe she had a panic attack, maybe she was overwhelmed. Stop calling women divas for having emotions in public." It's a valid point, and one that many in the industry have echoed in recent years. Women are often criticized far more harshly for emotional expressions than their male counterparts. But the narrative didn't stop. In fact, it snowballed. As the toxic diva label trended for the third day in a row, a video compilation started gaining steam. It featured clips from past moments where Blake either cut interviews short, appeared irritated, or gave what some described as Ice Queen energy on red carpets. Edited together, it painted a portrait that was hard to ignore and harder to refute. So where does the truth lie? Is Blake Lively truly a toxic diva, or is this another case of internet overreaction fueled by an unfortunate viral moment and amplified by rumors? As soon as the Coldplay concert footage went viral, Blake Lively's PR team moved into overdrive. What started as a single camera phone moment spiraled into a full-blown tabloid storm, and the so-called toxic diva label was beginning to stick. Sources close to her team claim that multiple meetings were held within 24 hours to assess the damage, coordinate messaging, and determine how to handle the ever-growing speculation. One insider even described the mood in her camp as high alert, especially since the cheating scandal had now been linked indirectly to Blake herself. Why indirectly? Because while Blake wasn't the one caught in the alleged cheating moment, her presence during it and her visible reaction sparked even more curiosity. If she was uninvolved, why was her response so heated? Why did she storm off mid-song? Why did she appear to confront someone off camera right after? The answers haven't come, and that silence, it's making everything worse. Instead of clarifying or addressing the situation, Blake's team has remained tight-lipped, a strategy that has backfired in the age of viral news cycles. Because when celebrities don't speak up, fans and media outlets will speak for them. And right now, the narrative that's taking hold is that Blake is difficult, demanding, and dangerously close to a full PR implosion. But the storm isn't just external, it's reportedly internal too. Sources close to the production of a high-profile upcoming project Blake was attached to have started whispering that her on-set presence has grown more tense in recent months. One producer told a colleague, who then leaked to a podcast, that the mood shifts when she walks in the room. Another source described her as micromanaging to the point of friction, even hinting that there were multiple reshoots due to creative disagreements. Is it diva behavior, or is it the pressure of maintaining a spotless brand? Because Blake's brand up until recently was considered nearly bulletproof. A list star, glamorous mom, fashion icon, businesswoman, wife of Ryan Reynolds. She had what many in Hollywood envy, a clean image, carefully curated, and mostly untainted by public scandal. But in a year already full of unexpected twists, especially involving her contentious legal fallout with Justin Baldoni, this new viral incident feels like a tipping point. The internet is beginning to turn, and for someone as image-conscious as Blake, that's no small threat. In fact, the Coldplay scandal has started bleeding into her past controversies, ones that fans and critics are now re-evaluating under a harsher light. Let's talk about the infamous 2020 interview clip that's once again doing the rounds. In the resurfaced video, Blake appears irritated during a panel discussion. When a fellow actor makes a joke at her expense, her response Sharp, cold, and visibly annoyed was quickly dismissed back then as a bad day. But now that same moment is being reinterpreted. Was this the early sign of diva behavior? We all missed. This isn't new. This is Blake Unfiltered. The internet has a long memory, especially when a narrative starts gaining traction. And the cheating moment, it hasn't gone away either. More angles have emerged, some showing clearer footage of the man in question. And now internet sleuths believe they've identified the woman he was allegedly involved with. Her Instagram was briefly public, and within hours of being linked to the incident, she shut it down entirely. This led fans to speculate that lawyers might have gotten involved. After all, when something that personal, something that potentially damaging happens in a public setting and then spreads online, the stakes go beyond gossip. They become legal, they become financial. One theory is that Blake feared the cheating scandal would somehow drag her into another lawsuit, or worse, implicate her brand or business ventures. Remember, she's a co-founder of multiple lifestyle and beverage brands, each of which depends on public perception. If her image takes a hit, so do her companies. But let's not forget the human side of this either. Because no matter how famous you are, being at the center of public ridicule is hard. And those who've worked with Blake have described her as someone who doesn't handle chaos well. According to one former assistant, she's a perfectionist. She has to control every detail, and when things spiral, it really affects her. The fact that this happened in public, that's her worst nightmare. So what's next for Blake? Already there are whispers that one of her upcoming projects may be quietly retooled. Another rumor suggests she may be temporarily stepping back from public appearances. And with no official statement from her camp on the Coldplay incident, the silence is starting to look less like strategy and more like confusion. Meanwhile, other celebrities have begun distancing themselves, subtly but noticeably. A stylist who previously worked with Blake recently posted a cryptic message about cutting ties with clients who don't treat people with respect. No names were mentioned, but the timing very telling. Fashion insiders also noticed she was absent from a major designer's recent event despite being one of the label's longtime muses. When asked why, the brand's spokesperson simply said, "We're focusing on different collaborations right now. Hollywood doesn't have to say things outright." Silence speaks volumes, and the fans, they're split. On one hand, many believe the backlash has gone too far. They argue that Blake is being vilified for a moment that wasn't even hers, that she was reacting to something distressing and is now paying the price for simply walking away. On the other hand, critics believe this was just the final crack in an already fragile persona. They point to years of controlled PR, of rarely granting vulnerable interviews, of carefully choreographed public appearances. Now that something unpredictable happened and her response wasn't on brand, people are questioning whether the cool, charming Blake was ever real to begin with. As the internet continues dissecting every frame of the Coldplay video, it's clear this moment will follow her for a while, and we're only halfway through the storm. If there's one thing more brutal than a cheating scandal caught on camera, it's the aftermath. When Hollywood starts pulling back, and in Blake Lively's case, that's exactly what seems to be happening in the days following the viral Coldplay incident, where she was caught storming off, following what appeared to be a highly uncomfortable moment involving someone from her circle, and a woman who clearly wasn't his partner. The real tension moved behind the scenes, not in the headlines, not in public statements, but in Hollywood itself, the inner circle of power, image, and influence. Let's talk about how the town is reacting, because trust us, they're reacting. According to multiple insider reports from entertainment journalists and publicists, Blake has recently been removed from at least 2 shortlists for upcoming campaign work, one of which was tied to a luxury fashion house based in Paris. The reason? Quiet but firm. They want clean press, one industry agent said. They don't want their brand mentioned next to words like toxic or scandal. That's the climate we're in. Another PR consultant went further. Blake used to be a guaranteed safe bet. She had that approachable elegance, but now there's this aura of volatility around her. And just when things couldn't get worse, guess who started trending again? Justin Baldoni. Yes, the same man currently embroiled in an ongoing legal and reputational battle with Blake Lively. A feud that's already thrown both stars into the public spotlight, courtrooms, and viral drama across platforms. But here's the twist. Justin hasn't said a single word about the Coldplay scandal. He hasn't posted. He hasn't liked any tweets. He hasn't made a passive-aggressive statement. But that silence, it's louder than any quote. Because what fans are realizing, and what insiders are whispering, is that Baldoni may not need to do anything at all. Blake is unraveling publicly without his help. And some even believe he's sitting back and strategically letting her implode, knowing that the longer she stays in the negative spotlight, the more it benefits his image by comparison. Let's not forget the public feud between Blake and Justin began with legal threats, public accusations, and deep questions about trust, loyalty, and influence in Hollywood, Blake accused Justin of professional sabotage. He, in turn, maintained his integrity while rallying quiet support across the industry. But now tables may be turning. A clip from a 2023 panel that Baldoni participated in has been resurfacing. In it, he talks about the dangers of ego in storytelling, and how some people would rather destroy everything around them than admit they were wrong. Fans have reshared the quote alongside current headlines hinting that the words now feel prophetic, maybe even directed at someone specific. The timing is impeccable, and Baldoni's team isn't denying or confirming a thing, which means they're winning the narrative without having to fight it. Meanwhile, back in Blake's world, more cracks are starting to show. One disturbing revelation: several former employees and collaborators are reportedly being contacted by journalists for background on what it's like to work with Blake Lively, and a few are starting to talk, not on record of course, but via blind items, anonymous podcast call-ins, and anonymous entertainment gossip blogs. One such tip described a 2021 campaign shoot where Blake allegedly held up production for several hours because she was unhappy with the lighting setup, insisting it made her look tired and overlit. The crew described it as one of the most frustrating days of their career. The studio was furious. Another account described how she demanded a full change of wardrobe designers mid-shoot after a single fitting didn't meet her standards. These stories, whether fully accurate or slightly exaggerated, are now fuel for the fire, especially with the toxic diva label gaining traction. And here's the danger: once that reputation sticks in Hollywood, it's incredibly hard to shake. No one says it out loud, it's not written in a press release, but suddenly calls stop coming. Invitations slow down, brands hesitate, publicists advise clients to lay low around you, and perhaps most dangerously, your allies start disappearing. Which brings us to the next twist: Ryan Reynolds. The Blake-Ryan duo has always been seen as one of Hollywood's most beloved power couples. Funny, chic, coordinated in public, Ryan has often been the softer, more approachable face of their joint brand. But in the wake of this new scandal, people are asking, where is Ryan? Because while Blake has been facing the firestorm alone, Ryan has stayed oddly silent. No funny tweets, no Instagram selfies, no public displays of support, not even a red carpet appearance to back his wife during a moment of public scrutiny. And now rumors are beginning to swirl that their team is divided behind the scenes. A well-placed source told a magazine last week they're not on the same page about how to handle this. Ryan's brand is based on humor and humility. Blake's is more curated. He wants to de-escalate, she wants to control it. There's tension there. This tension is causing a ripple effect in how fans and peers are reading Blake's recent behavior. What once might have seemed like confidence is now being interpreted as control. What once looked like strength now seems like rigidity. The shift in tone is unmistakable. Hollywood runs on perception, and the current perception is this: Blake is in survival mode, and that mode might just cost her more than she bargained for. But let's not underestimate her entirely. Even her critics admit that Blake Lively is incredibly savvy. She's survived in an industry that chews up stars far younger and less experienced. She's launched companies, styled herself, directed her own campaigns. This is someone who understands the game. And yet even the most strategic players can't always control a viral moment, especially when it captures something as real as an unguarded reaction in public during a moment of emotional chaos. As the dust begins to settle around the viral Coldplay incident and the mounting toxic diva backlash, one thing is clear: Blake Lively's image has taken a serious hit, and the ripple effects are already reshaping how the public and Hollywood perceives her. What began as a single moment at a concert has now become a symbol of something larger, a career suddenly out of sync with the brand it once so carefully built. Blake was once the embodiment of Hollywood grace, style, and quiet confidence. But now, with footage of her storming off mid-concert, whispers of controlling behavior on set, and a lack of visible support even from her inner circle, her polished exterior is cracking, and people are noticing. The label toxic diva didn't stick overnight. It grew from years of rumors, selective interactions, and behind-the-scenes accounts that were never quite loud enough to go mainstream until now. The Coldplay scandal, the cheating moment, and Blake's visceral reaction served as a perfect storm. Suddenly, those long-ignored murmurs became a deafening chorus, amplified by social media and sustained by a media machine hungry for drama. And through it all, Blake's silence hasn't helped. While some celebrities can weather controversy by confronting it head-on with honesty and vulnerability, Blake's refusal to address the incident has allowed others to control the narrative. Whether it's fans drawing their own conclusions, insiders leaking damaging anecdotes, or former collaborators speaking out anonymously, every moment she remains quiet, her story is told by someone else. The consequences are already being felt. Rumored drop deals, brand hesitations, peers distancing themselves. Even longtime ally Ryan Reynolds has remained noticeably hands-off, sparking speculation that the fractures in Blake's public image may mirror fractures behind the scenes. And then there's the elephant in the room, the ongoing legal tension with Justin Baldoni. While Blake faces this new wave of criticism, Baldoni has remained composed and absent from the chaos, ironically benefiting from Blake's public unraveling. Whether by coincidence or strategy, his silence now seems like the smartest move in Hollywood. But here's the real question: can Blake Lively recover from this? The answer: yes. But only if she's willing to do something she rarely has. Get real, not curated, not controlled, not glamorous, real. If Blake wants to move forward, she needs to address this moment authentically. Speak honestly, show vulnerability. Own the missteps, clarify the misconceptions, and reconnect with the public as a person, not a brand. Because while Hollywood may be brutal, the public is also quick to forgive when they believe you're being genuine. This chapter has changed the way people look at Blake Lively. Whether it marks the beginning of a downfall or the start of a reinvention is entirely up to her. Because in Hollywood, redemption is always on the table, but first, you have to ask for it.